Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we got some more Yu-Gi-Oh! News. We have another set announcement. This is really cool. You guys know I made the video talking about that, how I was kind of nervous on we had no products really announced. They had kind of seemed like they skipped some things. But we've gotten two sets announced basically in the last week, so we're kind of getting there, and it's filling out nicely. But today we're talking Animation Chronicle 2024. This is a really cool set in the OCG where they take anime/manga cards and print them out basically for the physical form, and they've never been printed before, which is really cool. A lot of times they're not going to do exactly what the card did in the anime. Sometimes it will, but in a lot of cases they want to adjust it to match just kind of the format that the physical card game has, and some of them end up being a little more competitive. Some of them need to be nerfed a little bit because they're insanely broken in anime form. But yeah. Anyway, the date on this is, I think, June. Did we get a date? Where's the date on this sucker? June 22nd. Here we go. This is for the OCG. Keep in mind, as far as Animation Chronicle 2023 went, we didn't get it imported until Maze of Millennia early this year. So, we probably won't get it till 2025, but it's still exciting to see, still exciting to look forward to some of these new cards and when we're going to get them in the TCG. And the last thing I kind of want to do here is remind you this. So they confirmed that this is, this pack includes 60 different cards, and I believe, I don't know if they confirm how many of those are new cards, but we can look at the two previous Animation Chronicles to get a better idea of what we can expect here. So, based off of last year's Animation Chronicle, we're looking at 29-ish brand new cards, and I think there's also like a cool alternate art, so 30 kind of newer cards total. That leaves 30 reprints open there. Reprints don't really matter, but 30 new cards is pretty exciting, especially considering these Animation Chronicles are not nothing when it comes to the competitive scene. They really aren't. Couple of the most interesting things from the most recent ones, we got the new dinosaur cards, Kaito Terra and the Horned Saurus guy. These are pretty decent, like, fusion dinosaur cards that help there. Bonfire's in here, famously. That's obviously been huge. This card is in the best deck in the game nowadays. It's a Rhoda, and then Ashoka Pillar's another card. We've seen a little bit of play in Mikanko as a pretty good rogue deck. Number 1, Infection Buzz King is in here. He's a new rank 8 that's pretty good. Sometimes you see it in like Horus-based decks. Armored Exceed, seeing a little bit of rogue play in very specific decks, but decks that want to take advantage of the armor package. This card's actually not too shabby, helps them play going second a little bit better. Sorry that artwork didn't print. And then the last thing to keep in mind is basically transaction rollback's also in here for the trap-based decks that really got a nice buff out of that. And then the Earthbound. So I know Earthbound's technically an archetype, but this really took off like a whole new really archetype. These cards do not work with the Earthbound Immortals. These are their own separate archetype. They work separately from those, and I think that basically means that almost every year we basically get a whole new archetype transitioned from the anime and manga into the TCG. And if you go back to 2022, I think this one 2022 was a little bit less impactful competitively, but there were still some cool things. Clockwork Knight is still a pretty insane card. You have Crystal Beast stuff in here. None of that stuff. Dream Shark, Dream Cicada. There's a couple of just like interesting cards. This guy ended up seeing play in Sprite. So this guy came from Animation Chronicle. I totally forgot that's where he stemmed from. Yeah, and so last year we got 2 different things, or 2 years ago, I mean. We got G-Golems and we got Doodle Beasts. So, pretty cool cards. Like, they're not nothing cards. They can absolutely come up. But yeah, also, it seems really weird. It seems they've really changed the format of this going forward. I didn't realize 2022 had so many new cards. I mean, 2022 had 46 new cards with like 4 reprints. So for a total of like 50 cards. And then last year only had 30 new cards. and like 30 reprints. So kind of weird. They're kind of messing with the formula there. We'll see what they end up doing this year, but there's a new archetype. Most people are going to hope it's Armatos Legio from Link Vrains. It could be something else from Link Vrains. I think there's a couple of other archetypes as well that have never actually been printed. I hope it's just at least like an interesting strategy. Like looking at those, like the Doodle Beast saw play in like play in Dinos, and it's a very rogue deck right now. But like if Dinos ever come back again, I could still see the Doodle Beast seeing play in them. And then Earthbounds right now, they're a decent like rogue strategy. So I think that's one of the most exciting parts about looking at these sets is the potential new archetypes. G-Golem's never really seen too much play. I think some Cyber decks have been caught with like Crystal Heart in the extra deck, but other than that, you don't really see too much of those. But still exciting because we're talking, it seems, bare minimum 30 new cards here. Obviously the next 3-ish months, 3.5-ish months, we're gonna get all those cards revealed. Hopefully it's cool stuff, and it's all like anime relevant, so it's like anime/manga relevant, so it's like it's probably going to be for archetypes we know, archetypes we love, because honestly in between here there's some other stuff that like they didn't end up being like very competitively relevant. But if we're talking like, oh, Crystal Beast cards, okay, that's a pretty fan favorite archetype, right? Morphtronic, right? Decently relevant character. Then you're talking Performapal, you're talking, you know what I mean, you're talking about all these cards. Amazonas, like actual relevant like anime characters, support for them. So that's kind of like exciting too. I'm excited to see what we get. You know, Armatos Legio is mine and probably everybody's pick for a new archetype if it gets printed. We'll see though, because there's a couple other options as well. And then other than that, I'm just like, cool, give me some cool stuff. Honestly, I don't follow the anime or manga close enough to know what we don't have that actually would be exciting. If you guys have your own personal lists, because I don't know if there's really a concrete, solid list out there of like all the anime manga cards that have never been printed. I'd love to see some of your guys' just favorite things that you remember that you're like, I love that card. I hope it gets printed. Maybe my one thing that I know of off the top of my head is ninjas. I know that even in like original, the first series of Yu-Gi-Oh there was like a guy who played ninjas, and I still think he has unprinted ninjas. So I'd love to see some of that. That would be so cool. I love that archetype, and I think it's just like 1 or 2 pieces away from actually being like serious rogue, not just like laughable rogue. That would be my number one pick there that I can think of. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and suggestions down below on specific cards. I'd love to hear that. I'm out of here for today, though. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. And subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date on all things Yu-Gi-Oh! News. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.